Everyone, this is Colin. We had some pretty big news come up. Well, I mean, we've kind of been hearing this might happen for a little bit, but today we finally got confirmation of it. That the new Snow White movie, the Disney live-action Snow White movie, it's been delayed. Now again, we've been hearing about this for a while, so I don't know if it's a huge surprise, but I did not think it would be getting delayed by a full year, and I don't know if anyone else out there really thought that either. We were thinking probably it'd get delayed by, I don't know, 6 months or something like that, give or take. And Disney, I guess they also just released a first look at their Snow White movie. And we'll look at that in just a second here. Now the original report, it comes from Hollywood Reporter, but Bounding into Comics, they're covering this a lot better. I'm going to read an article from Bounding into Comics here. I mean, they've documented some of the controversy and some of the leaked stuff over the past several months quite a bit better. So the article starts off, the Walt Disney Company released a first look at Rachel Zegler's upcoming Snow White film, while also revealing that the movie will be delayed an entire year. Hollywood Reporter notes that Disney pushed back Snow White from its original release date of March 22nd, 2024 to March 21st, 2025. So yeah, full year. The outlet alleges the delay is due to the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strike. Now folks, I mean, there might be some truth to that, but there has been so much controversy around this movie, whether it be a first look at the Seven Dwarfs, or they were turned into Seven Bandits, or a lot of the comments that Rachel Zegler has made disrespecting the original Snow White movie. I very highly doubt that this delay, a delay that's a full year, is just because of the actors' strike. I mean, it seems way too great a coincidence that they would delay it for this long when there's so much controversy around it and when there are so many people that are unhappy with the person starring as Snow White. I mean, Rachel Zegler, you might say that she's taken the title from Brie Larson as most unlikable person in Hollywood. You know, some people are saying that, you know, every time she opens her mouth, things are just getting worse for this movie. Now, I will admit, I have been less harsh on her than other people, mainly because she is still young. She was 21 when she first gave the interview where she was talking about how the prince in the original Snow White is a stalker and, you know, that sort of stuff. But even then, she is an adult, and, you know, Disney is a big company, and if they haven't given her any kind of guidance on what she should and shouldn't say in interviews, shame on them. And if they were giving her some guidance, then they didn't give her some very good advice. Okay, so here's where it gets interesting. However, the Walt Disney Company also released a first look at Rachel Zegler alongside what appears to be Seven Dwarfs. Given the appearance of the Dwarfs, it's possible the film will undergo significant reshoots once the strike is ended. Yeah, so here's the first picture here. Now this is definitely Rachel Zegler in the middle. So I continue. The idea that the movie might undergo significant reshoots and thus might be true. The true reason for the delay is because the Daily Mail previously published images from the set of Snow White showing a number of actors that look nothing like the dwarfs in this first look image. Yeah, this picture right here, this came out back in July. Here it says July 14th. And at the time, the report was that these were apparently going to be your new Seven Dwarfs. Now, Disney, they did deny that this picture was real. However, a little later on, I guess they admitted that these are going to be the actual costumes. These actors, I think, were stand-ins, but this was what the Seven Dwarfs were going to actually look like. And I guess they were actually going to be Seven Bandits. And now, very recently, we have a first look, and suddenly we have actual dwarves instead of, what the hell is this? I don't know, these people look like hippies or something. Now, this first look image came out 4 months after this leaked image right here. I'm not an expert when it comes to making CGI and graphics and stuff like that, but is 4 months enough time for you to make something like this here? I mean, people looked at this and they overwhelmingly thought, this is ridiculous, this looks like a group of hippies or something like that. So I wonder if Disney, they panicked a little bit and they decided, okay, we're going to completely change that. I don't know. That's my impression right now, unless there's something I don't know about. Maybe they're going to have Seven Dwarves here, and they're also going to have Seven Bandits. I kind of doubt that, but I have no idea. So we continue. Following images of these actors being published by the Daily Mail, a Disney spokesman told the Daily Beast the images were not from the Snow White production. The photos are fake and not from our production. We are currently trying to have the Daily Mail issue a correction. The Daily Mail would update their story, but made it clear the photos were not fake and were indeed from Disney's production. An update on the article stated, this article has been amended since initial production to correctly identify the actress portraying Snow White as an extra who stood in for post-production photography. Disney confirmed that stand-ins were used for both Zegler and Andrew Burnap in these images. We are happy to clarify this point. Following the Daily Mail's update, a Disney spokesman informed The Independent the images that ran in the Daily Mail are not official film photos. These show stand-ins for some talent and do not feature Rachel Zegler or Andrew Burnap. So I guess they're actually saying that these aren't the real actors or actresses, but they're just stand-ins. But I guess this was what the 7 Dwarves or the 7 Bandits were actually going to look like in the movie. But again, just today, Disney releases a first sneak peek, and instead we get 7 actual dwarves here. So yeah, what is going on here? Okay, so the article talks a little bit about Peter Dinklage here. A Disney spokesman had previously addressed criticisms levied at the film from actor Peter Dinklage. Dinklage lampooned the film during an appearance on WTF with Marc Maron, where he said, "Well, it's really progressive to cast a, literally no offense to anyone, but I was a little taken aback by, they're so proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White, but you're still telling a story about Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, so." He continued, "Take a step back and look at what you're doing here. It makes no sense to me because you're progressive in one way, but you're still making that effing backwards story about the 7 Dwarfs living in a cave. I thought they lived in a house. What the F are you doing, man? Have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox? I guess I'm not loud enough," he opined. He then concluded, "I don't know what studio that is, but they're so proud of that, and all love and respect to the actress and to the people who thought they were doing the right thing, because I'm just like, what are you doing?" Later in the podcast, Dinklage added, "If you tell a story of Snow White and it's the most effed up cool progressive spin on it, let's do it all in, but I just don't know." A Disney spokesman responded to Peter Dinklage's comments, telling The Hollywood Reporter, "To avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, we are taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. We look forward to sharing more as the film heads into production after a lengthy development period," the spokesman added. On top of this, The Hollywood Reporter did damage control for Disney, claiming the film has been in development for 3 years. The studio has been reimagining the dwarf characters since the earliest stages. So I guess they've been reimagining the 7 Dwarfs, and they reimagined them into a bunch of dirty hippies. And this was very badly received by fans and by audiences. And now, 4 months later, we get this as our first look for Snow White. Something makes me think Disney is in some damage control here. I can't confirm anything, but that's what my gut's telling me. Okay, and now to Rachel Zegler. The film has also come under heavy criticism following numerous comments about how it is diverging from Disney's original animated movie by Rachel Zegler. The actress has routinely been criticized for her comments describing the original Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs animated film as dated, disparaging the prince as a stalker, and taking issue with the film's love story. Not only that, but she revealed the upcoming live-action film is changing the definition of fair, appears to remove the entire moral lesson on vanity, and will instead be some kind of story about Snow White's inner struggle and her desire to be a good leader. Yeah, that's not what the original Snow White was about. Yeah, this right here, this is the interview that upset a lot of Snow White fans, and this was from D23 Expo of last year, so about a year and a half or so ago. I'm not going to play the interview, but there's a few quotes in this article here. She revealed to Extra TV her thoughts about the prince. She said in the interview, "The cartoon came out in 1937 and very evidently so." I'm not going to say this in the tone of voice that she said it in. "There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time." When asked if the prince would even be in the film, Zegler answered, "We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because we cast a guy in the movie, Andrew Burnap, great dude." She continued, "It's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's not really about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. 25 now. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby." Zegler then revealed that the film is really about it's an inner journey that she goes on to find her true self. She meets a lot of people along the way, and that makes the journey really, really incredible. And in addition to that, her and Gal Gadot, and Gal Gadot hasn't really taken a lot of heat for some of the things that she was saying. I mean, she's arguably been egging Rachel Zegler on in some of these interviews, but the article goes into it here. She made similar comments to Variety when asked why she described the movie as having a modern edge. She said, "I mean, it's no longer 1937, so we absolutely wrote a Snow White." Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen in the upcoming live-action adaptation, interjected, "She's not going to be saved by the prince." Zegler then reaffirmed she's not going to be saved by the prince and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. Yeah, this modernizing of classic stories, feminism is a pretty big part of it, and one thing that really angers them is there are some fairy tales out there that feature women being rescued by men. I mean, there are also some fairy tales out there that feature women saving men, but you don't really hear about those. But in today's modern age of storytelling, it's not politically correct to have a woman be rescued by a man anymore. That's toxic, that's misogynist, that's a bunch of other buzzwords like that. It's also not politically correct for a woman to be dreaming about true love, because that means that her happiness is in some way dependent on a man. We can't have that now. You know, in this right here, this whole interview, this is just another example of that. Zegler elaborated, she's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story, I think, for young people everywhere to see themselves in, she concluded. And this is another trait in modern storytelling. Every single female character needs to be a strong woman, girl boss, queen, or whatever term you like to use. And if she is anything less than that, then it's unacceptable. Speaking with Entertainment Weekly, Zegler also revealed that the film is also changing the definition of fair for the film. The original animated film made it clear the term referred to beauty and was providing a lesson in vanity. This will no longer be the definition for Zegler's live-action movie. She explained, the reality is that the cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman is fit for in the world. Yeah, so she's insulting the original Snow White film. And so when we came to reimagining, that's a buzzword they like to use, reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just and who can become a fantastic leader. Again, female characters in today, they can't be feminine anymore. They can't be romantic or anything like that anymore. They need to be strong, fierce girl boss queens. They can't be anything less than that. Zegler continued, and the reality is, Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over a kingdom. Godot added, also the fact she's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's the proactive one, and she's the one who set the terms is what makes it so relevant to where we are today. Again, she's not going to be saved out by a prince. They really emphasize that, and they're emphasizing that they've absolutely modernized this. But those interviews, those comments that she made, they pissed a lot of people off. A lot of Snow White fans did not like what Zegler said. They did not like what Gal Gadot was saying either, but mostly what Zegler was saying in interviews. They thought it was extremely disrespectful to the original Snow White movie. And there's been a hell of a lot of controversy around this movie that's been stirring up over the last few months. And now we hear it's being delayed by a full year. I mean, that's quite a long time to delay a movie. Now, they say that it's due to the actors' strikes, and that might have a bit to do with it. But I think it's way too great a coincidence that this film had so much controversy around it. It had so many people that were upset with what was going on, whether it be replacing the Dwarfs with these bandits here, or a lot of the very disrespectful comments that the actress herself starring as Snow White was saying in some interviews. The strikes might have a little bit of an influence on their decision to delay the movie by a full year, but in all honesty, I think Disney is also in panic mode. I think they're also in damage control. I think they're hoping that a full year is going to give a lot of these angry fans some time to cool down and maybe forget some of the things that the star in the movie has said. And from what we're seeing now, maybe even some time to make some pretty significant changes to the movie. I don't know. With how many people are upset with the way Disney's been approaching Snow White, it can't be a coincidence that not too long after all this controversy brews up, they decide to delay the movie by a full year. I do think that they're definitely in panic mode. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, if you consider hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Take care until then.